They were built to break the rules, set new records, or terrify the competition. But they never made it past the gates of Dearborn. Hidden deep in Ford's archives and test tracks, these 9 cars were too wild, too advanced, or just too risky to see the light of day. Here are 9 banned Fords you were never meant to drive, and why they stayed locked away. In the shimmering glow of the atomic age, when the post-war world brimmed with unparalleled optimism about the future, the year 1958 marked a pinnacle of bold, sometimes wildly imaginative ideas about what technology could achieve. Among the many marvels dreamed up during this period, none captured the spirit of atomic age optimism quite like Ford's Nucleon, a concept car so audacious it remains one of the most extraordinary automotive visions ever conceived, even decades later. The Nucleon was not just a glimpse at future styling trends or a flight of fancy. It was an attempt to fundamentally reinvent what powered the automobile. In an era when nuclear energy was heralded as the panacea that would solve energy crises and power humanity's dreams, Ford dared to imagine a vehicle powered by its own miniaturized nuclear reactor, a car that could drive for thousands of miles without refueling, fueled by the atom itself. The Nucleon's design was an exquisite manifestation of 1950s futurism, merging the streamlined aesthetics of space exploration with the tantalizing promise of nuclear power. It featured a long, low body with sweeping fins and a dramatic bubble canopy, an architectural nod to rockets and flying saucers that perfectly encapsulated the excitement of the space race and atomic breakthroughs. The passenger cabin was pushed far forward, almost hanging over the front wheels, balancing the massive rear section that housed the reactor pod, a bold, removable unit designed to contain the nuclear engine. The idea was that drivers would stop at specialized stations not to pump gasoline, but to exchange depleted nuclear cores for fully charged reactor pods, enabling near-limitless driving ranges and eliminating the need for traditional fuel stops entirely. This wasn't merely a new kind of engine, it was a radical reimagining of mobility, energy infrastructure, and the entire experience of driving. But beneath the gleaming aerodynamic curves and the intoxicating promise of boundless energy lay profound, unresolved technical and safety challenges. In 1958, the technology necessary to safely miniaturize a nuclear reactor, complete with the complex shielding to protect occupants from lethal radiation, simply did not exist. Nuclear reactors require heavy, dense materials to block gamma rays and neutrons, and cooling systems sophisticated enough to prevent meltdown or catastrophic failure. To shrink all this into a compact module small enough to fit in a car's rear, while keeping it safe enough for everyday use, was beyond the engineering capabilities of the era, or indeed even of today's standards. Moreover, the catastrophic risk posed by an accident was staggering. The thought of a highway collision involving a vehicle powered by a nuclear reactor conjured visions of radioactive fallout, contamination, and devastation unlike any traffic accident before or since. Such a danger was a fatal flaw in the concept's practical viability. Consequently, the Nucleon never advanced beyond a 3/8 scale model that Ford's design studio built to showcase their visionary thinking. It never moved under its own power, never housed a functioning reactor, and never approached production. Instead, it remains a frozen artifact of a moment in history when boundless technological optimism often outpaced practical engineering and safety considerations. The model itself, preserved in museums today, offers a haunting glimpse into a future that was dreamed but never realized. A future in which the atom, rather than oil, fueled the personal automobile. More than just an odd footnote, the Ford Nucleon stands as a powerful symbol of an era defined by faith in scientific progress and the belief that technology could reshape human life for the better. It was born out of a cultural moment when the threats of nuclear weapons were overshadowed by the hope that peaceful applications of nuclear energy would usher in a new age of abundance and freedom. The car embodies the excitement and naivete of those times, a time when designers could dream without constraint, when the unimaginable seemed within reach, and when the road ahead glittered with the promise of atomic power, space travel, and technological utopia. Yet the Nucleon also serves as a sobering reminder of the gulf that often exists between imagination and reality. It reflects the dangers of hubris and the complexity of taming forces far beyond human control. While the 1958 Ford Nucleon never took to the roads, it left an indelible mark on automotive history, a testament to the wildest, most optimistic dreams of its time, and a whispering cautionary tale about the limits of innovation. It invites us to marvel at human creativity, to understand the lessons of progress, and to remember that sometimes the most visionary ideas live forever not in the streets, but behind glass in a museum, inspiring future generations to dream, but also to measure the risks of those dreams against the realities of the world we inhabit. In the final reckoning, the Ford Nucleon stands as a gleaming monument to a time when the future was not just imagined, but believed in with a fervor and innocence that seems almost impossible today. It is a shining, silent beacon from the past, a car powered by the atom that never was, yet forever reminds us of the breathtaking audacity of human imagination and the perpetual tension between daring to dream and living with the consequences of those dreams. In the turbulent automotive landscape of the early 1970s, when muscle cars faced unprecedented challenges from soaring fuel prices, tightening emissions regulations, and shifting consumer tastes, Ford found itself at a crossroads with the Mustang, one of America's most beloved performance icons. The Mustang II, introduced in 1974, was smaller, tamer, and more fuel-efficient than its muscle-bound predecessors, aiming to meet new government mandates and market realities. But to the purists and racing enthusiasts, it felt like a betrayal, a soft shadow of the Mustang's once ferocious spirit. Recognizing this, Ford's engineers quietly set out to reclaim that lost performance cred with an audacious, secret project, the Mustang RSX, or Radical Sports Experimental. The RSX was unlike any Mustang before it. Gone was the traditional front-engine, rear-wheel drive layout. Instead, Ford envisioned a sleek, wide-bodied sports car with a mid-mounted European Ford V6 engine, a radical departure designed to improve weight distribution and handling precision. This choice not only aligned with a more modern sports car philosophy, but also reflected Ford's growing relationship with its European operations, which had experience with compact, efficient, and sophisticated powertrains. Complementing this powertrain was an exotic suspension system inspired by European racing technology, crafted to deliver razor-sharp cornering and a poised, athletic driving experience far removed from the Mustang II's soft ride. The body itself was a wide and aggressive departure from the Mustang II's compact dimensions, muscular fenders, a low stance, and aerodynamic lines that hinted at the potential of a true performance machine. The RSX was more than a concept. It was a tangible declaration that the Mustang's fiery spirit was not dead, but merely waiting for its revival. Engineers poured their passion into the prototype, meticulously blending American muscle's raw heritage with the sophistication of European sports cars. The RSX promised to bridge the gap between the Mustang's past glory and the uncertain future, positioning Ford to compete not just with domestic muscle cars, but with emerging international sports car competitors. However, the economic and regulatory realities of the mid-1970s were harsh and unforgiving. The 1973 oil crisis had dramatically altered the automotive market, sending fuel prices soaring and sparking a consumer shift towards smaller, more efficient vehicles. Meanwhile, the tightening grip of emissions regulations forced manufacturers to scale back engine outputs and add costly pollution control systems, undermining the performance ethos that had defined the muscle car era. Most crucially, Ford's corporate leadership and financial overseers, the so-called bean counters, were wary of investing heavily in a niche, high-performance project amid growing economic uncertainty. Faced with these challenges, the RSX project was quietly shelved before it could reach production, leaving only a handful of sketches and a solitary prototype buried deep within Ford's archives. Today, the Mustang RSX remains one of the automotive world's most tantalizing what-ifs. It symbolizes a lost opportunity, a rare glimpse into a path not taken, where Ford might have blended cutting-edge design and engineering with muscle car passion to produce a truly revolutionary pony car for the 1970s. The RSX's story is a testament to the fierce creativity and ambition simmering beneath the surface at Ford during a difficult era, as well as a reminder of how external forces, from geopolitical events to corporate priorities, can abruptly redirect the course of automotive history. Though few outside the most devoted Ford historians have seen the RSX prototype, its legacy lingers in whispers among enthusiasts, a hidden gem that captures the restless spirit of Mustang performance and innovation. The RSX stands as a poignant symbol of what might have been, a mid-engine Mustang born from desperation and ingenuity, forever frozen in time, waiting quietly for a future that never came. In the early 1990s, as the automotive world evolved with rapid technological advancements and shifting consumer expectations, Ford embarked on one of its most ambitious projects in decades, the creation of a successor to the legendary GT40, the 1960s race car that had conquered Le Mans and etched Ford's name into motorsport history. This vision culminated in what would become the Ford GT90, a stunning concept car revealed in 1995 that represented not only a tribute to the past, but a bold leap into the future of automotive performance and design. However, before the GT90 dazzled the public with its razor-sharp angles and futuristic carbon fiber bodywork, the project had already passed through a demanding early prototype phase that showcased Ford's relentless pursuit of innovation, engineering prowess, and a willingness to push boundaries, even if the ultimate dream would prove too costly to realize. From the outset, Ford intended the GT90 to be the ultimate halo car, a technical showcase and a statement that American engineering could compete with and even surpass the best supercars from Europe and Japan. To achieve this, Ford's engineers faced the daunting challenge of creating an engine that delivered unprecedented power while managing the constraints of packaging, weight, and reliability. The solution was nothing short of revolutionary, a quad-turbocharged V12 engine assembled ingeniously by combining modular V8 blocks. This modular approach allowed Ford to leverage existing engine architecture in a new and complex way, aiming to extract staggering performance without completely reinventing the powertrain from scratch. This quad-turbo V12 engine was engineered to produce a jaw-dropping 720 horsepower, a figure that at the time rivaled or exceeded the output of many exotic supercars. The engineering team also worked meticulously on the chassis, aerodynamics, and suspension to handle the immense power, targeting a top speed surpassing 230 miles per hour, an extraordinary figure that would place the GT90 among the world's fastest production cars had it ever been built. The car's design was just as radical as its mechanical heart. Sharp, geometric lines, a wide and aggressive stance, and extensive use of carbon fiber for lightweight strength combined to create a futuristic visage that seemed ripped from the pages of science fiction. Despite the technical brilliance and the excitement brewing inside Ford's walls, the GT90 faced stiff headwinds. The mid-1990s were a time of financial pressure and strategic tightening for many American automakers, Ford included. Developing such a high-performance, low-volume supercar was an expensive and risky proposition. The costs involved in finalizing the engine, perfecting the aerodynamics, ensuring compliance with safety and emissions regulations, and setting up specialized manufacturing processes were astronomical. Additionally, the market for supercars was limited, and Ford's leadership was hesitant to commit vast resources to a project whose return on investment was uncertain. The economic reality collided harshly with Ford's visionary ambitions. The company's executives ultimately made the difficult decision to halt the GT90's development before it could reach production. Although the 1995 show car succeeded in dazzling audiences and automotive press worldwide, proving that Ford's engineers and designers could dream on an epic scale, the dream of seeing the GT90 roar through streets and highways remained out of reach. Today, the early prototypes of the Ford GT90, with their radical quad-turbo V12s and groundbreaking design experiments, are among the most fascinating and least seen chapters in Ford's storied history. These prototypes, hidden away in Ford's archives, are a testament to the company's spirit of innovation and the perpetual tension between engineering ambition and corporate pragmatism. They remind us that behind every dazzling concept car lies years of complex development, tough choices, and sometimes heartbreaking cancellations. The legacy of the GT90 lives on far beyond its brief moment in the spotlight. It set a new benchmark for what an American supercar could aspire to be, a blend of raw, awe-inspiring power, avant-garde design, and technical sophistication. Although the GT90 never transitioned from prototype to production, its influence is unmistakable in later Ford supercars, including the eventual revival of the GT nameplate in the 2000s that embraced the spirit of innovation and high performance that the GT90 embodied. In the end, the 1992 Ford GT90 early prototype phase stands as a poignant reminder that the pursuit of automotive greatness is often a complex dance between visionary dreams and harsh realities. It's a story of daring engineering, visionary design, and the challenges that come with pushing the envelope. While the GT90 never took its place on the road as a production supercar, its spirit continues to inspire engineers, designers, and enthusiasts, a beacon of what might have been, and a symbol of the relentless drive to reach ever further into the future of speed and style. At the dawn of the new millennium, as the automotive world rapidly evolved and the SUV segment began its explosive growth, Ford found itself grappling with the challenge of maintaining its heritage in rugged, capable off-road vehicles while responding to shifting market demands. The 2000 Ford Equator concept emerged from this crossroads, a bold, uncompromising vision of what a modern, mid-size off-roader could be. Though it would ultimately remain a footnote in Ford's history for 2 decades, the Equator concept embodied the very essence of toughness and adventure that would eventually resurface in the revived Bronco years later, making it a prophetic glimpse of a future Ford vehicle that enthusiasts had long dreamed about. The Equator's design was a clear departure from the softer, more urbane SUVs saturating the market at the time, and an era when crossover SUVs like the Ford Escape and the Explorer were emphasizing car-like handling, comfort, and everyday practicality. The Equator harked back to a more primal automotive philosophy, one grounded in simplicity, durability, and trail-ready capability. Its styling was unapologetically rugged, with sharp, squared-off lines, a flat hood, upright windshield, and a tall, boxy profile. This geometry wasn't just about looks, it was a functional nod to traditional off-road vehicles, enhancing visibility, maximizing interior space, and reinforcing the idea that the Equator was built for serious adventure. One of the most striking features of the Equator was its removable roof panels, an exciting callback to classic open-air off-roaders that allowed drivers and passengers to feel truly connected to their environment. Paired with its wide, aggressive tires and raised suspension, the vehicle looked every bit ready to climb rocky trails, ford streams, and navigate muddy paths. The chassis and suspension systems were designed to withstand tough terrain, offering durability and articulation necessary for real off-road exploration, not just the occasional dirt road drive. In short, the Equator was crafted to compete head-on with Jeep's rugged lineup, aiming to reclaim Ford's lost ground in a segment where authenticity and capability reign supreme. Despite its compelling package, the Equator concept faced an uphill battle within Ford's own strategic planning. In the early 2000s, the company's leadership was steering toward capturing the booming urban and suburban markets with SUVs that emphasized comfort, fuel efficiency, and family-friendly features over rugged off-road prowess. Vehicles like the Explorer and the newly introduced Escape exemplified this shift, appealing to a broad swath of consumers who prioritize daily usability and refinement over hardcore trail performance. The Equator's boxy, no-compromise off-roader ethos was increasingly at odds with Ford's commercial priorities and market realities. Consequently, the Equator was quietly shelved, its bold design and adventurous spirit confined to concept car archives, overshadowed by the softer, more versatile SUV models that promised greater sales volume. Yet the legacy of the Equator concept was not lost. Its DNA quietly persisted within Ford's engineering and design departments, influencing the gradual reawakening of the brand's off-road identity. When Ford finally decided to resurrect the Bronco nameplate in 2021, the echoes of the Equator were unmistakable. The modern Bronco adopted many of the Equator's hallmark traits: angular, boxy styling that emphasized ruggedness and durability, removable roof panels and doors to enhance the open-air experience, and serious off-road capability engineered to appeal to enthusiasts and adventurers alike. The Equator had been ahead of its time, a visionary design that prefigured the very characteristics that would define one of Ford's most successful and critically acclaimed vehicles in decades. Today, the Ford Equator concept serves as a fascinating chapter in the company's storied history, a symbol of innovation deferred, of a bold idea waiting patiently for the market and corporate strategy to catch up. It reminds us that automotive progress is rarely linear. Great concepts often must wait for the right cultural moment, technological advances, and consumer appetite before they can flourish. The Equator's rugged silhouette, adventurous spirit, and no-nonsense design remain a testament to Ford's enduring commitment to off-road capability and the timeless allure of vehicles built to explore beyond the pavement. In retrospect, the Equator is more than just a forgotten concept car. It is a beacon of what might have been and a harbinger of what eventually came to pass. It reflects the cyclical nature of automotive trends and the enduring desire among drivers for authentic, capable vehicles that blend practicality with adventure. As such, the 2000 Ford Equator concept holds a special place in automotive lore, a vision of rugged freedom that waited 20 years to truly come alive, reminding us that the spirit of exploration and resilience never truly fades. It only evolves until the world is ready to embrace it once more. The 1969 Ford Mach 1 Super Cobra Jet Lightweight is a near-mythical chapter in the epic saga of American muscle cars, a chapter brimming with raw potential, untamed power, and an unfulfilled promise that still fires the imaginations of enthusiasts, historians, and collectors to this day. At the apex of the muscle car wars during the late 1960s, manufacturers were locked in a fierce competition for dominance on drag strips and streets alike. The horsepower race was as much a marketing battlefield as it was a technical arms race, with brands pushing the boundaries of speed, weight reduction, and street legality. In this environment, Ford engineers and executives conceived a radical idea: to create a Mach 1 variant so stripped down and performance-focused that it would become an unstoppable force on the quarter mile, a factory-built terror aimed squarely at Chevrolet's infamous Sepo Camaros and Chrysler's legendary Hemi Darts. This was no ordinary Mach 1. The standard Mach 1 was already a formidable machine, boasting aggressive styling and potent engine options. But the lightweight Super Cobra Jet project aimed to elevate it into a completely different league. The core of this beast was the 428 cubic inch Super Cobra Jet V8 engine, a power plant that was revered for its brute torque, impressive horsepower, and racing pedigree. Unlike the base engines, the SCJ was hand-assembled, featuring reinforced internals, heavy-duty components, and a cowl induction system that helped the car breathe better at high speeds. Ford's vision was to marry this powerhouse with a stripped-to-the-bone chassis, a car so light and nimble it could launch off the line with devastating force and steamroll through quarter-mile traps. The weight savings were a crucial part of this formula. Borrowing inspiration from competitors who had already embraced lightweight technology, Ford planned to replace traditional steel body panels with fiberglass alternatives wherever possible, a radical move that drastically cut down curb weight. Fiberglass doors, hoods, and fenders would replace the heavier stamped steel versions. The interior was to be gutted. All sound insulation, carpeting, air conditioning, radios, and other creature comforts were removed, leaving only the bare essentials. Even windows might have been swapped for lightweight versions or plexiglass to save precious pounds. This relentless focus on weight reduction was designed to maximize power-to-weight ratio, a critical metric for drag racing success. Behind the scenes, Ford engineers and test teams labored to prepare the car for both street legality and maximum performance. It was more than just a track toy. The Mach 1 SCJ Lightweight was intended as a homologation special that racers could buy directly from the factory and run at sanctioned events without modification. The strategic intent was clear: dominate the factory drag racing scene, leverage race wins to boost showroom traffic, and continue the muscle car dominance Ford had enjoyed earlier in the decade. But despite the car's ferocious potential, the Mach 1 Super Cobra Jet Lightweight was doomed by forces far beyond engineering prowess. By 1969, insurance companies had grown increasingly wary of insuring high-performance muscle cars that could easily be pushed beyond safe limits by inexperienced drivers. These concerns translated into soaring premiums for manufacturers and consumers alike, putting intense pressure on automakers to curb their high-performance offerings. Insurance threats played a decisive role in forcing automakers to rethink or abandon plans for ultra-powerful street cars that flirted too closely with track-only machines. In parallel, growing internal concerns about safety and escalating production costs added to the mounting obstacles. Ford's management, mindful of shareholder scrutiny and increasing government regulation, began tightening the reins on projects perceived as risky or potentially costly to support. The lightweight Mach 1, with its stripped interior and minimal safety features, raised red flags. Although it might have dominated drag strips, the question of liability in real-world street conditions was a significant stumbling block. Ford's leadership ultimately concluded that the financial and legal risks outweighed the potential rewards. As a result, the project was quietly canceled before even a small production run could begin. Yet, as is often the case with such high-profile cancellations, rumors and legends sprang up almost immediately. Enthusiasts and insiders whispered that a handful of test bodies, some say as few as 3 to 5, were assembled, equipped with the distinctive fiberglass panels and lightweight components. However, rather than allowing these rare cars to reach the public or collectors, it's widely believed that Ford ordered their destruction to prevent liability issues and to avoid complicating corporate strategy. No verified surviving examples have ever surfaced, which has only added to the Mach 1 SCJ Lightweight's aura as a ghost car, a phantom machine existing only in memories, whispers, and dusty archive photos. The story of the 1969 Mach 1 Super Cobra Jet Lightweight encapsulates the tension of the muscle car era's final throes, a time when raw horsepower and racing glory collided head-on with escalating insurance woes, safety concerns, and increasing government intervention. It represents a fascinating crossroads where engineering daring and corporate caution met, with the latter prevailing in this case, cutting short what might have been one of the most fearsome factory-built muscle cars ever to roll off an assembly line. Had Ford followed through, the lightweight Mach 1 would likely have rewritten the muscle car narrative of the late 1960s and early 70s. It could have stood alongside the Copo Camaro and Hemi Dart as a legend of factory drag racing, a car that delivered race car performance straight to the street, bridging the gap between showroom and racetrack like few others. Its absence has fueled decades of speculation, longing, and reverence among collectors, enthusiasts, and historians who see in it the purest expression of the muscle car ethos: unrelenting power, stripped-down aggression, and a laser focus on winning. Today, the Mach 1 SCJ Lightweight lives on not just as a tale of what might have been, but as a symbol of the muscle car era's passionate spirit and the razor-thin line manufacturers had to walk between innovation and responsibility. It reminds us how insurance pressures and corporate pragmatism reshaped an era and silenced one of the loudest voices in the high-performance songbook. Yet, in the hearts of gearheads everywhere, the 1969 Mach 1 Super Cobra Jet Lightweight remains a legendary phantom, a car that burned bright and fast in the imagination, but was extinguished before it could race into history. In the mid-1980s, amid rising fuel prices, growing environmental concerns, and shifting consumer preferences, Ford embarked on a daring exploration into the future of automotive efficiency and design with the Probe 4 concept, a vehicle that was anything but the forgettable, modest production Probe that would appear later in the decade. The Probe 4 was a radical statement, a true rolling wind tunnel designed to push the boundaries of aerodynamics, technology, and futuristic styling in a way few cars of its era dared. It embodied Ford's vision of a hyper-efficient, space-age automobile that could revolutionize not just fuel economy, but also redefine what performance and style could look like in a rapidly changing world. At the heart of the Probe 4's design was its remarkably streamlined, teardrop-shaped body, carefully sculpted to minimize air resistance. Achieving a drag coefficient of just 0.15, a figure astonishingly low even by today's standards, the Probe 4 was engineered to slip effortlessly through the air, maximizing fuel efficiency and top speed potential, while reducing noise and emissions. This aerodynamic mastery was enhanced by active aerodynamic features that adjusted in real time to driving conditions, as well as covered wheels designed to smooth airflow around the rotating tires, which are normally a significant source of drag. Every curve, panel, and surface was meticulously crafted through extensive wind tunnel testing, making the Probe 4 a rolling laboratory for the future of car design. Inside, the Probe 4 was equally forward-thinking, with an interior that seemed to leap directly from a science fiction movie. The cabin featured digital displays, futuristic controls, and ergonomic seating that anticipated the coming wave of automotive technology and driver interfaces. This was a car not just built to cut through air, but to immerse its occupants in an advanced, technology-rich environment, pointing to a future where the automobile would be as much about innovation and experience as transportation. Ford's intention with the Probe 4 was far-reaching. Beyond showcasing aerodynamic advances and futuristic styling, there was a tantalizing possibility that this concept could preview a new generation of vehicles, perhaps even a bold reimagining of the Mustang for the 1990s, trading traditional muscle for modern efficiency and technological sophistication. Such a car would have marked a radical shift for Ford's iconic pony car, embracing front-wheel drive and futuristic design in a way that was far ahead of its time. However, the Probe 4's radical looks and unconventional front-wheel drive layout sparked resistance among Mustang purists and traditionalists who revered the Mustang's rear-wheel drive V8-powered heritage. The idea of replacing the beloved pony car with a teardrop-shaped, efficiency-obsessed front driver simply did not sit well with the core enthusiast base or Ford's marketing decision-makers. Ultimately, the Probe 4 remained firmly a styling and technology exercise, a fascinating glimpse of what might have been, but never intended for production. Though the Probe 4 never transitioned beyond the concept stage, its influence subtly shaped Ford's design language and engineering approach in subsequent years, especially in exploring aerodynamic efficiency and the integration of active aerodynamic technologies. It stands today as a bold, visionary artifact from a pivotal time when automakers wrestled with reconciling performance, efficiency, and evolving consumer expectations. The Ford Probe 4 concept of 1985 is a story of daring innovation tempered by market realities and brand loyalty. It captures a moment when the future seemed both thrilling and uncertain, a future where cars could be sculpted by wind and technology to new heights of efficiency, but where tradition and passion still held immense sway. Its sleek, teardrop silhouette and space-age interior continue to inspire designers and engineers who strive to push the boundaries of what a car can be, reminding us that sometimes the boldest dreams live only in the imagination or in the gleaming lines of a concept car that raced ahead of its time. The 1985 Ford Probe 4 concept represents a striking chapter in Ford's ongoing quest during the 1980s to push the boundaries of automotive aerodynamics, fuel efficiency, and futuristic design, a vision far beyond the more conventional production probe that many remember from the late 80s and 90s. At a time when the oil crises of the previous decade were still fresh in the collective memory, and automakers worldwide were scrambling to create vehicles that balanced performance with economy, Ford's Probe 4 stood out as a bold experiment in what the future of passenger cars might look like. It wasn't just a styling exercise, it was a rolling wind tunnel, a true laboratory for aerodynamic innovation wrapped in a design that seemed almost alien compared to the boxy, angular cars common in that era. At the heart of the Probe 4 was its extraordinary aerodynamic profile. The car's teardrop shape was sculpted to an extreme degree to minimize air resistance, resulting in a drag coefficient, CD, of just 0.15. A figure so low that it still impresses modern engineers and designers today. This was achieved through a combination of smooth, flowing lines, a sharply raked windshield that seamlessly blended into a low roofline, and a rear end designed to reduce turbulence and drag. Even the wheels, often a major source of aerodynamic drag, were covered to maintain uninterrupted airflow. But Ford didn't stop there. The Probe 4 featured active aerodynamic elements, a pioneering technology for its time, which could adjust flaps or spoilers in response to speed and driving conditions to optimize downforce and efficiency dynamically. This concept foreshadowed technologies that would only become widespread decades later. Inside, the Probe 4's interior was a vision of the future, reflecting not only aerodynamic efficiency, but also ergonomic innovation and cutting-edge technology. The cabin boasted digital displays, futuristic controls, and seating arrangements that felt more like a spacecraft than a traditional automobile. Materials and layout were chosen for their lightweight properties as well as their high-tech appeal, signaling a future where cars would be not only machines of transportation, but also immersive, technology-rich environments that enhance the driving experience in new and unexpected ways. Behind its radical design and technology ambitions lay a deeper strategic consideration for Ford. The Probe 4 was conceived as a potential glimpse into the future of the Mustang itself. At the time, the Mustang had shifted from its original muscle car roots toward more compact front-wheel drive formats in response to changing regulations and consumer tastes. Ford considered the Probe 4's front-wheel drive layout and aerodynamic efficiency as possible directions for the iconic pony car in the 1990s, a bold reimagining that would have traded the Mustang's classic rear-wheel drive V8 formula for a lighter, more fuel-efficient, technologically advanced package. However, this vision was a double-edged sword. While it embraced the demands of a new automotive era, it simultaneously alienated Mustang purists who saw the car's front-wheel drive setup and radical styling as a betrayal of the Mustang's heritage. This tension proved too great to overcome. Despite the Probe 4's technical achievements and futuristic allure, Ford ultimately decided to keep the Mustang's traditional formula intact, shelving the Probe 4 as a styling exercise and technology demonstrator, rather than a production precursor. The concept lived on in design studios and automotive shows, admired for its sleek, space-age form and visionary ideas, but never translated into a production vehicle. Yet the Probe 4's legacy can be seen in Ford's gradual incorporation of aerodynamic thinking and active aerodynamic systems in later models, as well as in the broader industry's ongoing pursuit of efficiency and performance through innovative design. It represents a moment in automotive history when manufacturers were beginning to seriously embrace technology-driven solutions to fuel economy and emissions challenges, while simultaneously wrestling with the weight of brand identity and consumer expectations. Today, the 1985 Ford Probe 4 concept stands as a testament to bold innovation, an artifact of a time when designers and engineers dared to dream of cars shaped by wind tunnels and computer screens, and when the future felt just within reach, but still tantalizingly out of grasp. Its ultra-low drag, active aero features, and sci-fi interior continue to inspire automotive designers, reminding us that sometimes the most radical ideas serve as necessary steps on the path toward progress, even if they never find their way to the showroom floor. The Probe 4 remains a symbol of visionary thinking constrained by market realities, a beautiful and mysterious glimpse of what might have been in the ever-evolving story of the automobile. The 1999 Ford Lightning Bolt concept stands as one of the most exhilarating and ambitious experiments ever undertaken by Ford's Special Vehicle Team, SVT, during a transformative era for performance trucks. In the late 1990s, the notion of a high-powered, street-legal pickup truck was still relatively niche, but Ford had already begun making waves with the SVT Lightning, a supercharged F-150 variant that combined brute force with everyday usability. Yet the engineers at SVT weren't content to rest on their laurels. They envisioned a radical leap forward, a pickup truck that would not only blow away the competition, but redefine the very limits of what a production truck could achieve in terms of speed, power, and technological sophistication. This vision gave birth to the Lightning Bolt concept, a bold, almost reckless proposition to create the ultimate performance pickup. At its core, the Lightning Bolt was based on the already potent SVT Lightning, which featured a supercharged 5.4-liter V8. However, the engineers took this foundation and pushed it to extreme heights. The supercharged V8 was extensively modified and tuned to deliver nearly 500 horsepower, a staggering figure at a time when most trucks rarely exceeded half that output. This wasn't just about making more power. It was about transforming the pickup into a rocket ship on wheels, capable of launching off the line with ferocious acceleration and holding its own against even the most aggressive sports cars of the day. What truly set the Lightning Bolt apart from its predecessors and competitors was its pioneering drivetrain, an all-wheel drive system integrated into a platform traditionally dominated by rear-wheel drive. This AWD setup was revolutionary for a production-style pickup in the late 90s and was specifically engineered to tame the enormous torque and power, deliver traction under a variety of conditions, and allow the truck to corner with unprecedented stability and confidence. The engineers reinforced the chassis and upgraded suspension components to handle the increased forces, resulting in a vehicle designed for blistering speed and enhanced handling, whether on a straight drag strip or a twisting mountain road. But such ambition came with significant challenges. The Lightning Bolt's advanced drivetrain and heightened performance placed extraordinary stresses on all mechanical components, raising red flags among Ford's warranty and quality assurance teams. The potential for costly repairs, reliability concerns, and customer dissatisfaction loomed large. Moreover, the financial implications of turning the Lightning Bolt from a singular prototype into a full production model were daunting. The truck's complexity meant extensive development costs, new manufacturing processes, and an uncertain market for such a radical and expensive vehicle. Internal debates within Ford's management ultimately led to the project's cancellation. While the Lightning Bolt demonstrated impressive capabilities and captured imaginations, corporate caution prevailed, prioritizing risk mitigation and financial prudence over bringing a niche super truck to market. Only one running prototype was ever built, serving as a powerful proof of concept that would mostly remain hidden from the public eye, preserved in the shadows of Ford's experimental archives. Yet the influence of the Lightning Bolt was far from lost. Its pioneering all-wheel drive system and performance philosophy laid the groundwork for Ford's future performance trucks, most notably the F-150 Raptor. Introduced over a decade later, the Raptor embodied many of the Lightning Bolt's core ideals: high horsepower, exceptional off-road capability, and advanced drivetrain technology that pushed the boundaries of what a truck could do. The Raptor's success proved that Ford's daring vision had been prescient, and that the market for high-performance trucks was ready and waiting. The 1999 Ford Lightning Bolt concept remains a fascinating what-could-have-been story, a machine that pushed the limits of engineering and performance but was ultimately sidelined by practical concerns and corporate caution. It represents a thrilling moment in Ford's history when innovation and ambition collided with economic reality, resulting in a prototype that tantalizes enthusiasts with its potential but exists primarily as a legend and an inspiration. For automotive historians and performance truck aficionados, the Lightning Bolt is a symbol of raw, unfiltered ambition, a reminder that even in the conservative world of pickup trucks, there are flashes of brilliance and daring innovation. It stands as a testament to the engineers who dreamed big, the culture of experimentation at Ford's SVT division, and the evolving landscape of American trucks, where power and technology continue to redefine what these vehicles can be. Today, the Lightning Bolt's legacy is felt in every high-performance truck that combines muscle with technology, speed with durability, and audacity with practicality. It remains a legendary chapter in Ford's story, an electric spark of innovation that lit the path toward the modern super trucks we see roaring down highways and conquering trails around the world. The 2007 Ford Interceptor concept was a bold, unapologetic statement of power and presence, a modern reinterpretation of the classic American full-size rear-wheel drive sedan, reimagined for the 21st century with muscle car bravado and law enforcement toughness baked in. At a time when full-size sedans were rapidly losing favor to SUVs and crossovers, and the venerable Crown Victoria was nearing the end of its reign as the quintessential police and fleet car, Ford sought to recapture that lost glory with the Interceptor. It was pitched as a Crown Vic on steroids, a brutal four-door sedan that married the commanding presence of the 60s Ford Galaxies with cutting-edge engineering and modern performance, aiming to revive the spirit of the big rear-wheel drive American sedan for enthusiasts, police departments, and fleet buyers alike. The Interceptor concept was powered by a potent 5.0-liter Camry V8, a naturally aspirated beast producing robust horsepower and torque figures, engineered to deliver thrilling acceleration and relentless power. Its rear-wheel drive layout was a deliberate nod to the classic muscle cars and full-size sedans that once dominated American roads and police fleets, promising balanced handling and a driving experience that was both familiar and exhilarating. The muscular stance, broad shoulders, and aerodynamic yet aggressive styling drew heavily from the 60s Ford Galaxies, blending retro cues with modern sharpness and sophistication. The design was meant to communicate strength, speed, and authority, a vehicle that could serve as a daily driver, a high-performance muscle sedan, or a no-nonsense police interceptor. Ford teased the Interceptor as more than just a concept. It was positioned as a spiritual reboot, signaling a potential future where full-size rear-drive sedans could make a comeback, offering muscle car fans and law enforcement agencies a serious alternative to the growing tide of front-wheel drive sedans and bulky SUVs. The Interceptor was envisioned as a tough, capable sedan ready to dominate both city streets and highways, designed with the needs of fleet buyers and muscle enthusiasts in mind. Unfortunately, the timing couldn't have been worse. The onset of the 2008 financial crisis dramatically shifted the automotive landscape, forcing manufacturers, including Ford, to reevaluate priorities and shelve ambitious niche projects. Consumer tastes were evolving rapidly, with crossovers and SUVs surging in popularity due to their perceived practicality, versatility, and fuel efficiency improvements. The once dominant full-size sedan segment was shrinking fast, and the market for a large, powerful rear-wheel drive sedan was becoming increasingly uncertain. Faced with these harsh realities, Ford chose not to move forward with the Interceptor as a production model. Instead, the concept remained a one-off showcase of what could have been, a tantalizing glimpse of a full-size bruiser that combined raw muscle, classic inspiration, and modern technology. The Interceptor was quietly relegated to the vaults, surviving only as a concept car admired for its boldness but never realized on dealer lots. Today, the 2007 Ford Interceptor concept stands as a fascinating what-if in Ford's history, a symbol of the crossroads between tradition and modernity, performance and practicality, aspiration and economic reality. It reminds us of a time when the muscle sedan still held promise and when the American full-size rear-wheel drive car was seen as a cultural icon worth reviving. Though the Interceptor never made it to production, it remains an enduring testament to Ford's ability to dream big and honor its heritage, even as the tides of the market and the wheels of progress spun in a different direction. For fans of muscle cars, law enforcement vehicles, and classic American sedans, the Interceptor concept embodies the spirit of raw power and bold design that many wished could have returned. Its aggressive stance, V8 growl, and retro-modern styling continue to inspire admiration, standing as a reminder that sometimes the greatest automotive stories are not just those that get built, but also those that almost were.